Hi guys, and welcome once again to the Coffee and Heroes YouTube channel. Time now for our weekly show where we do our best to round up events that have happened in the store this week, chat through different announcements regarding to the comics world, the TV, movies, games world, all the things basically that caught our attention in the last week. Have a little look at what new releases are coming out next week, give you guys the heads up on the titles to look out for, and just any other bits and pieces I feel like chatting about really. So we're coming to the end of another week in store. It's our third week back open since we had to temporarily shut down. Been another good week again, nice and busy. We have definitely seen an upturn in graphic novel sales. I think people are enjoying the more long form nature of comics as well as obviously the traditional single issues. We had some good big releases this week, which certainly helped with that busy week. Deceased Dead Planet came back. Still have a couple of copies in store. Highly recommend that from Tom Taylor and Trevor Harrison. Fantastic first issue. Batman was back again this week, the last issue before the Joker War begins in Batman 95. Must say, really hyped for that. Detective Comics was very strong, which once again linked to the New 52 stuff. It linked to Court of Owls. It linked to a character from that Court of Owls run that maybe hadn't been fully realised in the comics ever since Snyder introduced them. I'll not throw in too many spoilers, but highly recommend getting your hands on that Detective Comics issue as well. But as I say, trades were strong. We had Undiscovered Country hit this week. Scott Snyder, Charles Soule, ordered big on that. Just one or two copies left. Philadelphia from Rodney Barnes, Jason Sean Alexander. Same again, ordered big. I think we're down to our last copy. You have Firepower, the new title coming from Chris Samney and Walking Dead's Robert Kirkman. And we made sure to order plenty of the free comic book day issue of that as well. So if you do pick up Firepower in our store, we have set aside some of the free comic book day stock so that if you pick up the trade, you also get that, essentially that issue 0 before the main series kicks off with the number 1 as well. So yeah, just good stuff all around. You had another issue of Empire. Marvel's event are starting to come together. Their 2 0 issues have now been out, and the main title kicks off next week. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. Good week all around. Just really strong. Lots of good people. I was commenting today. Actually, I'm recording this on the Saturday. When I was in early today, we have spaced out all the tables so that people can relax and feel comfortable knowing that there's good space between everyone. But we had a good rake of people in today, and it was just easy conversation, nice and chilled out. Everybody saying hello to everybody else as they walked through the door. Everyone saying goodbye as they left. That community aspect's strong, and I'm really glad that we've come out the other side of the pandemic. There won't be a second wave, but we've come out the other side of that, and the community aspect this door is still strong, and that's really satisfying from our point of view. Once again, I've been uploading stock to the prototype for the website. We're going to announce a date for that in the next 2 to 3 days for when that is going 100% live. So something to keep an eye out on the social media channels for. What else have we got? We've got a new podcast going up the next day or two. We had Roddy record a new Starting Points podcast. I believe he's going to be tackling Aliens comics. Very timely given the announcement last week that Marvel have acquired the Alien and Predator licenses for comic distribution. And then I believe we're going to sit down and record another podcast, reviews, things to basically look at that came out in the last 6 to 8 weeks. Essentially, we do need to focus on that because there's been quite a few releases, but obviously they've been scattershot and moved around all over the place a little bit. So we'll try and coalesce that down into an easily digestible 2 hours, maybe more. We'll see. The previews podcast, of course, was recorded this week, and it is out on our podcast network as well. So if you want to get a little bit of a preview of what's coming out in the next few months, certainly the stuff that we're recommending, jump on the podcast there. With the podcast, it's coming up into the late 90s now. Roddy and Keith have been good enough to be doing this with us for a long time, and we're approaching essentially issue 100, if you will. We've got a few interesting things planned for that, so definitely keep an eye on the podcast network, guys. Some good stuff coming up there, so there is. So that was this week, but I've just got the invoice in front of me as always, just to give you guys a preview of what's coming out next week. There are quite a few big titles, I have to say. So Marvel are starting to get their act together. More and more stuff's coming out on a weekly basis. So next week we've got Amazing Spider-Man coming back with issue 44. We have Avengers number 34 coming out as well. Then you move on, we've got Captain Marvel coming out. We've got a small title called Dark Knight's Death Metal number 2. A few people on that as well. Empire, which I was just chatting about. So the event kicks off in earnest. That's going to be a 6-issue miniseries. And that kicks off next week. A slight, an interesting point I did notice about Empire is that it's probably the first time ever. Now keep in mind, because of the delays, and these were probably printed ages ago and they held it back and so forth. But interestingly enough, next week we've got Empire number 1 coming, first print of course. But we also have Empire number 1 second printing coming as well, which I found kind of interesting to have them both released on the same day. What else we got? Got Fantastic Four coming back. There's a couple of free comic book day issues next week to keep an eye out for. So we've got My Little Pony Friendship is Magic 1 coming. We've got Power Rangers Ranger Slayer coming. And then we've got X-Men number 1, which I believe is going to be sort of the prelude to the beginning of this X of Swords or 10 of Swords event that's coming up for Marvel. We've got Jan Size X-Men Magneto. There's new Immortal Hulk next week. There's new Justice League next week. There's new Nightwing next week. We get restocks of Negan Lives. So if you missed out on that, fantastic issue, by the way. If you're a Walking Dead fan, essential. Even if you're not a Walking Dead fan, it's a really cool one-shot, you know, showing off this character you've probably heard so much about, whether it be through the TV show or through the comics themselves. What else have we got? We've got Strange Adventures coming out, so next Tom King, Doc Shaner, Mitch Dread's title as well. And then another wee small title there I see at the end called Venom 26. So some really good stuff coming out next week as well. Particularly looking forward myself to Venom, Strange Adventures, and Metal would be my top 3 picks of the week. But there's a lot of good stuff in there, I have to say. And also we've been topping up on the trades as well, making sure we've full runs of Saga in store, full runs of Deadly Class, full runs of Outcast. You know, we're always looking to keep those graphic novels topped up. So people read at different speeds, they come in at different times. So we want to make sure that no matter what volume you're on, that you can actually pop into the store anytime and you'll be able to get the next one. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about quickly with regards to upcoming releases as well is 3 Jokers. So 3 Jokers for me is going to be the biggest title of the year. You have your Metal, you have your Marvel event coming in December I'll chat about in a few moments, which will actually certainly rival 3 Jokers. You've got Empire, you've got X of Swords, you've got all these big titles this year. But I genuinely think 3 Jokers is going to be something special. I think that Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok have really taken their time on this. They've been deep diving into the mythology of the DC universe. It's being released to coincide with the 80th anniversary of Joker. They've taken their time with this. They've made sure everything is ready to go before they properly start releasing it. You know, it's not going to be another doomsday clock with staggered releases and loss of momentum and so forth. You know, I think it's going to be a really special book, and they're sort of commemorating that fact with a whole host of variants. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up here is because with DC, when it comes to your traditional variant cover B, it's always easy to get. DC are very good about letting you order whatever you want of cover B. You know, you look at the great Batman variants recently, you look at the Metal variants, you look at when there was Curse of White Knight with Sean Murphy. Those variants were always easy to get. So with 3 Jokers, what they're doing is the cover A is a Joker cover. So it'll be 3 different Jokers for the 3 different thick black label issues. The cover Bs, which again are order all you want, will be 3 different DC characters. I believe the first one is Batman, the second one is Batgirl. The third one's yet to be announced, but I have a feeling it'll be Red Hood, because I think Jason Todd's going to play very heavily into this. But what they've also announced now is Jason Fabok's doing 9 premium variants. It's going to be 3 premium variants per issue. And each one is going to look at a different style of Joker and sort of showcase the flexibility of that character over the years. So for example, you've got one where the Joker's holding the laughing fish. You've got one where the Joker has the camera from Killing Joke and the Hawaiian shirt. You have one where the Joker's applying his makeup. Puts me very in mind of Batman 89. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is these variants are, as they say, they're called premium variants. They actually are the same price as the normal variants and the normal issue itself. But with these premium ones for comic stores, for you to qualify for them, you have to order 50 of each premium variant. So you've got to order 50 of the laughing fish, 50 of the applying makeup, 50 of the Killing Joke homage. And I hummed and hawed about it. I wasn't sure whether to order them. You know, our biggest pull list title is metal, and it has 39 people on it. Three Jokers is rising steadily. I think it's in the 20s, maybe about 27, 28 people have that on their pull lists. You've plenty of time to add it, by the way, if it sounds good. But with these premium variants, I have had at least 7, 8, maybe 10 people come in asking if we're getting them. And with this order, I wasn't sure whether to place it or not, because we ultimately are very, very restricted with our orders in that we don't want to order a lot of stock that's not going to sell. We try to keep our numbers tight. It helps us function well as a business, and then it frees up money elsewhere for us to get in, you know, cool back issues or trades or, you know, the merchandise we've started getting in recently. But with Three Jokers, I thought, you know, the launch of the website's coming up soon as well. So what we've done is we have ordered the premium variants for the first issue. The orders aren't actually due until the middle of August for the premium variants on issue 2. So we've ordered number 1, and we're going to see how sales go. I would love to get all of them in, which would be a total of 450 issues, but we're just not sure if the demand's there. As I say, I have at least 10 people that do want them. If they appeal to you, I'm going to make sure that there's pictures of them up as they're announced. There'll be a few, I'll have shown a few in this YouTube video as well. But if they do interest you, you know, they are very much collector's pieces. You know, there's not going to be different interior content. If you're not into variants, don't feel pressure to suddenly get into variants. But just if you're a Joker fan, or you're a fan of great art, or you're a collector, these are highly recommended. I'm going to be taking a set myself, very much so. But we just need to see if the demand's there. I'm never going to put the business in danger by trying to chase variants or chase ratio variants, that kind of thing. It has to make sense for us as a business to get them in. Now, I do think that we will possibly be the only place to get them in Belfast. I don't know what the other guys are up to, but it is a bit of a risk to get them. But I've ordered the first 50 of premium cover A, B, and C for issue 1. So if it does interest you, please do get in touch. We'll add that to your pull list, and we'll make sure you're guaranteed those copies. As I say, it could go either way. There could be demand for 100 copies. There might be 12 people interested in it. I don't know, but I couldn't pre-order all of 2 and 3 without knowing if the demand was there. So we have ordered 1, as I say, and it's definitely something that I'm very much looking forward to. And even if it's just a case of you just want, you know, Three Jokers itself, you know, let us know. We can get that added to your pull list as well. It is due out the 25th of August, so it's sort of about 6 weeks away at this point. And, you know, it's essentially coming out 30 years after the Killing Joke as well. It's finally going to give us the answer to what came up in the Dark Side War. Again, that was Jeff Johns and Jason Fabuk when Batman learned there were 3 Jokers in the DC universe. So I cannot wait for this title, and I do love this, that it is a sort of a celebration of the character with all these variants. I believe it'll also come with a playing card, sort of, you know, collectible playing card, so to speak. But there's no charge for that. That just comes when you order 50 copies of it, so we'll have those with it as well. But yeah, again, if you're interested in the premium ones, please do get in touch and let us know if that's something that, you know, you'll want to be sticking with, that kind of thing. So what else have we got? So I'd said there, you know, the big words, the Three Jokers going to be the event of the year. Marvel are certainly doing their best to combat that, as you would expect, of course. I'm not talking about Empire, although I'm actually looking forward to that, I have to say. I've been reading the issue zeros. But Donny Cates is a master of self-promotion. He's done it very well for Venom. He's done it very well for Thor. He did it very well for Absolute Carnage. He's a constant presence on Twitter. He, you know, gives out loads of interviews. He has a podcast. So he has now announced a new series that is going to be coming out in December called The Keen in Black. So what The Keen in Black is essentially the next event to spin out of Venom. The Keen in Black refers to Null, who's the god of the symbiotes, who was introduced back in Venom number 3. And for a long time, Marvel have been teasing Null is coming. Like, they've really, really been building to this. So they have. And Donny Cates and Brian Stegman, the artist on Venom, Donny Cates, of course, being the writer, officially announced this yesterday with this sort of 3-minute video. Just give you some of their choice quotes from it. You know, this sounds amazing. And again, I think it's going to be massive. pardon me, Absolute Carnage was definitely our biggest Marvel event we've had in store in our 3-year lifespan. I think this is going to be even bigger again. So Donny was quoted as saying, "As far as event books go, this is the coolest, darkest, most heavy metal, Cthulhu, dark horror thing I've ever been able to do. I still can't believe that Marvel is letting us go as dark and scary as we're going." One of the things I'm most proud of in this series is the creation of the character Null. This is actually Ryan Stegman now. We have some new designs that we will be unveiling throughout the series that are really cool and really creepy. So yeah, the tiniest of tiny blurbs for it is that the King in Black conquers the Marvel Universe this December and will come face to face with the Avengers, X-Men, and of course Venom. So even in the latest issues of Venom, Eddie has been trying to warn the Avengers that something big is coming and they need to prepare, and now they're getting ready to do this. If you haven't seen the announcement video, search it out on YouTube. It's just under King in Black announcement video, and it's like 3 minutes of Donny Cates and Stegman talking about it. Just be aware there is a little bit of swearing in it because Cates does get excitable sometimes. But yeah, if there's something to get excitable about, it's this. I think that's going to be absolutely awesome. And one of the biggest compliments I can give it, certainly in terms of anticipation, is that I think 9 people have it in their pull list already and it's not out to December. So definitely worth keeping an eye out for. I've talked a lot on this YouTube channel about the movie The Old Guard. Well, it finally dropped last night. The new Charlize Theron led movie, which is an adaptation of Greg Rucka's and Leandro Fernandez's brilliant graphic novel series and brilliant comic series, The Old Guard. I am delighted to say that it was absolutely fantastic. It incorporated in so many elements from the books. The opening scene is almost word for word from the book, and that's the thing. With a 5-issue miniseries, the blueprint is there. I mean, that's essentially the length of a movie, and they didn't shy away from utilizing that. It definitely helps that Greg Rucka was the writer for the movie, as well as being the writer and creator of the source material itself. And 2 hours long, great action, great character development, very well cast, beautiful looking movie. It globetrots about from Morocco to France to England. Charlize Theron's awesome in it as Andy, and it definitely leaves a little bit of leeway at the end for said sequels. I mean, there is actually an after credit scene, so keep an eye out, as is the want of comic book movies these days. But there is a after credit scene that is essentially the first few pages of book 2, which is called Force Multiplied. So hopefully they'll again stick very closely to that and make this a trilogy of movies, because it's designed to be a trilogy of books. There's only 1 volume available so far in terms of graphic novels, but Force Multiplied won't be far away. And then the third one, I would imagine, will start coming out in single issue form towards the end of the year. So speaking of Greg Rucka and awesome stuff that he creates, he was one of the co-creators of a great series called Gotham Central, along with Ed Brubaker. Now, there was the news this week that Matt Reeves, who is directing the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, Jeffrey Wright, Colin Farrell, etc., they are working on a spin-off TV show from that Batman movie, and it is going to be produced by Matt Reeves. It's currently being developed by Terrence Winter. Now, Terrence Winter was one of the guys who helped create Boardwalk Empire and also cut his teeth on The Sopranos. Now, if that is not a resume that excites the hell out of me for a Gotham set police procedural TV show, then I don't know what will be. Please get Greg Rucka and Ed Brubaker on this. This sounds like Gotham Central. This is what I wanted Gotham to be. Gotham ended up becoming something totally different. Young Bruce Wayne, over the top, camp, whatever. I never watched it. Got 6 episodes in, was done, just wasn't for me. This sounds bloody brilliant. It is going to have Jeffrey Wright in it as well as Gordon. There's going to be crossover between the movie and between this. There are early rumours that it might serve as sort of a prequel as well. But this is the kind of thing that HBO can do. This kind of content sounds awesome. I believe they're doing it with Dune as well, the upcoming Denis Villeneuve adaptation of the classic book Dune. And I think that there's going to be a spin-off TV show as well that's going to link to it. So, as Old Guard proved, if you get people in who helped create this material and you get them to help with your live-action adaptation, it's gold. And as much as there's great talent already with Terrence Winter and with Matt Reeves, get these guys on board, get them writing episodes, get them in the writer's room, and just make Gotham Central the show, because Gotham Central is brilliant. And I'm going to be chatting with the guys soon on the podcast. So I believe it's our next book club is Gotham Central. Dig the hell out of that book. So here's hoping that is going to be They haven't said it's a direct adaptation of Gotham Central, but everything they've talked about so far makes me think that's exactly what it's going to be. On the slightly sadder side of news for a lot of people, I know one or two guys have been in the store, have been a little bit depressed about it, but Chilling Adventures of Sabrina got renewed for season 4, but has been told that that's going to be the last season. Netflix always have this thing where they very rarely go past the 3 seasons of anything, so maybe the news shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. I personally haven't watched a lot of it. I'm a big fan of the comic book. I can see it just over there, the Occult Edition hardcover, which I'm a big fan of. And one of the benefits of this show being cancelled, stay with me here, one of the benefits is that Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa, who created Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, he's been a writer, he created Riverdale. Because this is being cancelled, he said he wants to continue the story, and he's going to continue it in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina comic. Now, we have been waiting for a new Chilling Adventures of Sabrina comic for years now. So if this frees up his schedule enough that he can get back to a little bit of comic book writing, and he can get Robert Hack back on art, do it. Because I couldn't get into the show because it was a bit too glossy. It was a bit too full of good-looking people who you only find on the CW network. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, if you read the books, it's very scratchy, dark, psychological horror. It'd put you more in mind of Rosemary's Baby, whereas the TV adaptation to me, or The Omen, or Amityville Horror, would put you in mind of those, as opposed to the TV show, which just seems like Riverdale, but with 1 or 2 jump scares. But that's just me. I mean, loads of guys love Sabrina, the TV show, but I much prefer the books. And if this gets, as I say, Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa back on the books, I don't see it as such a bad thing, to be completely honest with you. I mean, speaking of cancellations, thankfully this isn't a cancellation, but it is a delay. The next 2 Halloween movies have been delayed. They were originally due, the first one to come out this October, because you can't, release a movie called Halloween any other night of the year or any other month of the year. So due to the worldwide pandemic and everything, and cinemas facing a bit of an uncertain future, they've decided to hold it back a full year. So it won't come out until 2021. It's going to be called Halloween Kills. If this is important to you, John Carpenter has promised the movie will have the highest kill count of any Halloween movie. But it is going to have an IMAX presentation as well, so they're obviously going to spend a bit of money, blow it up that little bit more. It does give them a little bit more time to polish it, which is fine, works for me. I thought the most recent Halloween movie was pretty damn fantastic, and I love all the originals as well, even some of the lesser liked ones. They're great fun, I think. You don't take them too seriously, but I thought Halloween recently was awesome, so I'm happy to wait. Again, I'd rather wait for something that's good rather than have it rushed out and then that's alright, that sort of thing. Continuing on the TV show narrative, Umbrella Academy will be dropping its 2nd season, July 31st. There is a new trailer that has just been released. This is the kick up the butt I needed to actually watch season 1. I'm a big fan of the books. Got all single issues, really enjoy Jared Way, Gabriel Ba on that, so I must really catch the show. But again, from what I'm heard, guys in the store, really looking forward to it. I really should get on that, to be honest. So July 31st for season 2, that will drop on Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, they also released a new trailer for an animated Transformers show that they're doing. So it's called Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy. Siege. So what it's going to be is the first series is going to be the first chapter, which is going to consist of 6 22-minute episodes. It's got a new animation style, and it explores a critical time frame in Transformers history. The story begins in the final hours of the devastating civil war between the Autobots and Decepticons, a war that has torn apart their home planet of Cybertron. 2 leaders, Optimus Prime and Megatron, both want to save the world and unify their people, but only on their terms. Trailer for this looked really promising. It's not it's not linked in any way to the Michael Bay movies. I wouldn't have had a problem if it was. Those movies, I take them with a pinch of salt. I really, really enjoyed Bumblebee though. It was a step above in terms of Transformers lore. But this looks really, really promising, so it does. And Netflix have been doing good stuff like this. They did it with a Godzilla animated trilogy as well, not too long ago. What else have we got? Speaking of animated series, there's Patty Jenkins has revealed that along with more films set in the Wonder Woman universe, I know they were looking at some spin-offs. I know one of them was going to be just called Themyscira, and it was going to look at the Amazons, the Amazonian way of life. But there are rumours, well not rumours, there's talks underway for them to possibly do an animated series focused on the Amazons. So that would be quite interesting. Again, it would be linked to Wonder Woman, the movie continuity as well. So that would certainly be welcome. DC has a very, very impressive track record of animation. So get on board with that, very much so. What else have we got? Just a couple of things to finish off with for the week. They released a trailer for Audible's The Sandman. So this is a audiobook adaptation of the Neil Gaiman's iconic Sandman series. I promise they are right there. I am planning to read them. I will get to it, along with everything else. But yeah, so the original comic ran for 75 issues in total. The Audible drama, it's going to drop on July 15th. I think it adopts the first 3 volumes. So that'll be, say, about 15 issues thereabouts. But the voice cast is awesome. You know, you've Taron Egerton on there. You've got Michael Sheen, Kat Dennings, Joanna Lumley. You've got James McAvoy. And then you've got Neil Gaiman himself as the narrator. So look forward to that. Depending on how close it is, it may be the kind of thing that I'll read the books and then have the books open as well and listen to that over the top and see how it works. You don't get to experiment many times like that with meshing of genres. And then speaking of that, you know, great Vertigo era, there's a lot of rumours going about at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see, but I wouldn't have a problem with this at all. But there's a lot of rumours going around that a new Constantine movie is in development. Obviously, J.J. Abrams is working on Justice League Dark, and one of the rumours is that Kenny Reeves might actually come back to play Hellblazer. I enjoyed Constantine, the movie with him. I always say the same thing, and I may have even said it on here before, but I think it's a really good movie. I don't necessarily know if it's a Constantine movie, but it's a really good psychological action horror movie. And I think he's very good in it, and he's always been a big fan of the character and a bit of a, you know, he's always talked it up in the press and all this kind of stuff. I did really enjoy Matt Ryan in the role, in the unfortunately short-lived TV series. But there's always that gap between TV acting and movie acting, so I don't know if they would continue with him in the role or not. So that's going to do it movie TV wise. I've just one thing I thought was worth throwing up. We chatted about it before when PlayStation were doing their unveiling of a lot of the hardware of the upcoming games and so forth. Microsoft have now announced a event for Xbox Series X. It's going to be on July 23rd. It's going to focus on all the upcoming games that will be released for the new console made by Microsoft Studios. Now, Microsoft have acquired something like 15 different game studios in total at this point. So it's not just going to be Halo Infinite, although I would take an hour of Halo Infinite, no problem. But no, there's going to be tons more other stuff. There's rumours of a new Fable game, perhaps. Maybe see some footage of Psychonauts 2, more Hellblade 2. Rare has a new game coming called Everwild, which may get announced as well. So it's something definitely to keep an eye for if you're a gamer. There's always the battle between the two consoles. Weirdly, it's always Microsoft versus Sony. They never factor in Nintendo. Nintendo just, you know, go on in the background, do their own thing and have their own success. But there always seems to be this battle between the two big companies. I personally am more of an Xbox guy, but, you know, if you can afford it, and you have the time to play both, get both. Well, why deny yourself? It's like the whole DC Marvel thing. I'm more of a DC guy, but I read a ton of Marvel as well. Just enjoy it all. Anyway, yeah, that is going to do it for us this week on the Coffee and Heroes show. Just one final announcement regarding next week. We have We will not be open on the Monday. Smithfield Market itself is closed as a bank holiday. The joys of living in Northern Ireland around the 12th. So we'll be closed on Monday, back open as normal on Tuesday. What, however, this does mean is that Wednesday will be the earliest day that we get our new releases. Our delivery, it might arrive on Wednesday. It could even be Thursday. So keep an eye on the social media channels, guys, and I'll keep you informed as when we can expect it. The day it arrives, we're allowed to sell it from that day. I will, of course, have the pull lists ready in terms of who's got what to go on there. But obviously, we need to take a bit of time to bag and board and take the proper care and make sure all the issues are in the best possible shape. So it may be on sale Wednesday, it may be on sale Thursday. But again, keep the eye on the social media channels and we'll keep you guys informed for that. So yeah, that'll do it for this week. And I'll hope you guys have a restful weekend. I'll look forward to seeing you in the store next week. Until then, stay safe, guys. Take it easy.